lifestyle, which I think we'll all agree that we have here. Thank you very much to Click Arquitectos, Fluent Finance, Wyndham Costa del Sol and Architect for coming to join us here today, and of course to MIJAS Town Hall. We're all here because obviously real estate is so important. Everybody needs somewhere to live and everybody wants to live on the Costa del Sol. This has been the case for decades. As we all know, SUR in English began 40 years ago this year, in 1984. We were here to provide a service of information to all the English-speaking foreign residents who are coming to live on the Costa del Sol, and many of them in MIJAS. MIJAS then, the following year, I think, opened their Foreigners Department, a pioneer on the Costa del Sol for all the foreign residents who were coming to live here, buying properties, buying holiday homes. As we know, things have developed a lot over the decades, but the situation is still the same. People are buying homes here, they want a holiday home here, they want to come and live in MIJAS. So having said that, the person who can tell us most about MIJAS and who knows most about MIJAS, I'll hand you over now to the Mayor, Ana Mata. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning. As Mayor of MIJAS, it's an honor for me to accompany you this morning in the Real Estate Forum organized by SUR in English, whom I thank deeply for having chosen the municipality to celebrate it. A very interesting way to highlight its enormous potential and strategic positions in this important sector. This type of meeting, which brings together professionals from different areas, represents a unique opportunity to exchange views and analyze from different points of view the evolution and development of business sectors. And they are going to allow me to continue speaking in Spanish. El título de esta mesa redonda no podía ser más acertado: inversión segura y el codiciado estilo de vida en el sur de España. Safe investment and an invaluable lifestyle in South Spain. Toda una declaración de intenciones que acredita a MIJAS como el municipio perfecto para la celebración de este tipo de encuentro, y que por parte del Ayuntamiento de MIJAS agradecemos. Muchos de los aquí presentes y de los que nos siguen a través de la retransmisión online son residentes extranjeros, un factor más que respalda la importancia de foros como los que hoy representamos. Sepan que en MIJAS hay censados un total de 31.477 extranjeros de 125 nacionalidades diferentes, lo que supone un 33,35% de la población total. De ellos, más de 8.000 proceden de Reino Unido, siendo la comunidad extranjera con mayor presencia en nuestra localidad. Y es que en los últimos 20 años, MIJAS ha experimentado un crecimiento poblacional y turístico que ha venido acompañado de un incremento de los desarrollos urbanísticos, los cuales sitúan a nuestro municipio como un referente muy atractivo de la Costa del Sol y del marco andaluz para invertir y residir. Ahora tiene un compromiso mi concejala de urbanismo, que hoy también está aquí, de agilizar todo ese procedimiento de inversión que muchas veces se hace tedioso para cualquier persona que quiera invertir en nuestro municipio. No olvidamos que a lo largo de los 148 kilómetros de extensión de MIJAS disponemos de 3 núcleos bien diferenciados: MIJAS Pueblo, declarado conjunto histórico-artístico; La Cala, área marinera con playa que ostentan 9 Q de calidad, turística y 4 banderas azules, sin olvidar que tenemos una de las mayores reservas de posidonia marina que nos ha valido la categoría como lugar de interés comunitario y una gran senda del litoral, única que conecta toda la Costa del Sol. Y el núcleo urbano de Las Lagunas, para el que el equipo de gobierno que presido va a proponer unas nuevas instalaciones municipales para dotarla de ese centro histórico carente en la zona y que demos servicio a todos los ciudadanos del distrito Las Lagunas. No solamente ese equipamiento va a tener un servicio por parte del ayuntamiento hacia los ciudadanos, sino que queremos también crear un espacio de ocio y divertimento para todos y cada uno de los vecinos y vecinas. Acabamos de cumplir 100 días al frente del Ayuntamiento de MIJAS y ya por fin tenemos presupuesto. Y en este tiempo hemos demostrado que se puede gestionar de manera eficiente, transparente y responsable. Desde el pasado mes de noviembre, desde el área de urbanismo del Ayuntamiento de MIJAS, hemos otorgado 29 licencias de obra mayor, lo que supone que el consistorio está al día con todas las licencias de este tipo que ya contaban con informes favorables, así como 1.311 declaraciones responsables, 50 licencias de obra menor y 80 autorizaciones previas. En resumen, nuestro objetivo es que la Administración municipal se rija por los principios de eficacia, eficiencia y celeridad, haciendo más atractiva MIJAS, aún si cabe, para la inversión, creando un escenario de mayor seguridad jurídica administrativa, resultado de un servicio público eficaz y de calidad. Le deseo que pasen una mañana muy fructífera. MIJAS es un municipio que tiene una potencialidad tremendo y desde el equipo de gobierno nos vamos a dejar la piel, ¿verdad, Lourdes? Porque no tengamos trabas para todas aquellas personas que quieran localizar sus proyectos en nuestro municipio. Así que muchísimas gracias y buen día. Thank you very much.
Good morning and thank you. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Rachel. I'm delighted to welcome our panel for this morning's roundtable. Juan Goñi Uriarte, the CEO of Click Arquitectos, Juan José Millán, Chief Strategy Officer from Wyndham Costa del Sol, Lourdes Burgos, who is the Town Planning, Housing and Heritage Councillor here at MIJAS Town Hall, Mark Damien Elliott de Lama, who is the owner and founder of Fluent Finance Abroad, and last but not least, David Sanchez, who is CEO of Architect. So I'd like to invite all of our panel members just to give a brief introduction to say who they are and a little bit about where they're from. So Juan, can we start with you?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, my name is Juan Goñi. I am architect and manager of Click Arquitectos. I was born in Bilbao and I live in Torremolinos, but my personal professional experience started in MIJAS. My first scholarship when I was 18 was in MIJAS Pueblo with Pazar Kitting Clay and an architect that was Frank Joyride partner, and the first thing that I did was counting cars for the parking of the town. And afterwards, my first work was in Las Lagunas, in Arquitres. Now I develop hospitality and residential projects, and yeah, that's my office, and that's me.
Great, thank you, Juan. Juanjo.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm Juanjo, as Jenny has just said. I'm representing Idyllic Group and Wyndham Costa del Sol. The group has been in business now 40 years. This year is our 40th anniversary. And we are a bit of a quite unique type of a business because we have different divisions, but our main divisions are hotel management, hotel and resort management, so which we run and manage our own resorts as well as third-party resorts. And also we have the other main division is the real estate division, in which we are specialized in second home. We sell mainly to foreigners, and that's the reason why our locations are always holiday locations. We are here in MIJAS, in Costa Sol, in MIJAS Costa. We are as well in the south of Tenerife, where we have 3 resorts, and we have a new project in the pipeline. We have built over 1,600 units in Kuşadası in Turkey, all branded residents with Wyndham. And we have close to 500 houses in Orlando, in Kissimmee, close to the parks, split into different resorts. At the moment, we are working on a branded residence here in MIJAS, in La Cala Golf Resort, called Wyndham Grand La Cala Golf. Consists in the 58 villas, semi-detached villas. And that is more or less what we do.
Thank you. Lourdes.
I can explain so much as you. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to stay here with you this morning. As you said, my name is Lourdes. I'm the councillor responsible for the town planning. And before this responsibility, I've been working very hard as the administrator of communities. As you can imagine, I don't come from MIJAS, I come from Madrid. For my accent, you can discover. But I remember the first time I came to MIJAS, and I really love MIJAS, and I choose to live in MIJAS the rest of my life. I would like to change the things with the mayor, with the opportunities he has done to all of us to convince the people that the best option to live and to invest in the Costa del Sol is MIJAS.
Thank you. Mark.
Thank you, Lourdes. Thank you, Jenny. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the SUR in English. I'd like to thank the Ayuntamiento de MIJAS, Ana and Lourdes, for being here today and for putting on this event. I think these events are very important, so thank you very much for doing that. Okay, so my name is Mark Elliott de Lama. You probably understand, well, you can probably see that I'm actually, I was born in England, born in London, but my mother and my family are from Spain, so I've been coming to Spain all my life. I first came to Spain, so I worked in London, and I became, I worked in the financial services industry. I got involved in the mortgage industry in London. And at the age of 25, I was very lucky, and I was very lucky that I was offered a job in Spain. And so I'm very proud to say, I'm very pleased to say that I'm celebrating my 20th year here in the Costa del Sol. Fluent Finance Abroad is, as I've mentioned, is an independent Spanish mortgage consultancy. We specialize in the non-resident market. Our job is to deal with as many lenders as possible who are in the business of working with non-resident buyers of property in Spain. Our job is to understand what's going on in the mortgage market at any given time in this country, and also to understand what Spanish banks are looking for when it comes to working with foreign investors. And as I say, we're doing okay. Last year it was a bit up and down, as you can imagine. But that's who Fluent Finance is, and that's a bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. David.
Good morning. My name is David Sanchez. I'm the CEO and founder of Architect Systems Group. We're an architectural studio that designs and builds custom modular houses in Malaga, especially in Costa del Sol, and we deliver throughout the entire territory, national territory. We're doing a lot of research to come up with solutions to build new type of housing that can be cut in almost half. We know the demand and the lack of supply that Malaga is facing right now, and we're doing a lot of research to come up with solutions for sustainable, less impact on the environment for construction buildings. I was born in Canada. My parents are from Spain, as Mark. Well, I needed an excuse to come to beautiful MIJAS to come to live in. So I did, and I moved here.
Thank you. Thank you, David. So we've got two examples of people who've decided to come to MIJAS, which is brilliant, I think, for this, the theme of this morning's talk. So I have some questions that I'm going to ask our panel. And please feel free if I direct a question to Lourdes, for example, please feel free if you want to add Juan, Juanjo, and Mark, and David, and then Lourdes. Okay, so I'm going to start off. Lourdes, you've already said that you chose MIJAS, and Anna and Rachel, we've heard that MIJAS Town Hall has one of the oldest, or if not the oldest, foreigners departments in Spain. So it's always long been a popular destination, both for foreign investors and for tourists, of course. So my first question is to Lourdes. Why MIJAS? What is it about MIJAS?
Hundreds of reasons.
What are the advantages?
First of all, if you have a property in MIJAS, that will not only allow you to enjoy the sun, the Mediterranean Sea, you can enjoy a lot of things because you have a lot of different experiences, marvelous regional gastronomy, and one of the best public services. As you said, Jenny, we have the Foreigners Department for more than 40 years ago. Here, there are a huge population that they are fluent in English, but not in Spanish, and from the town hall, we try to help them to live in MIJAS. If you buy a property in MIJAS and you invest in MIJAS, you have a lot of opportunities because you can visit your property, you can live in your property, or you can rent your property, and you can get more money for this property than the money you get if you have the money in the bank or stock market, for example. And from the town hall, we are trying to do our best because we think that we have to give you and all the people that want to invest in MIJAS a good quality of services, but we have to maintain the beaches ready to use every single day of the year. The streets had to be clean too, because this is very important. But we have to provide a lot of services with a good level of quality, and we are working very hard in order to do it as best as we can.
Thank you. Does anybody else like
Yeah, well, I
to
can say that Lourdes can be our best sales representative because yes, if you want to invest in MIJAS, but it's exactly what Lourdes was saying. No, if you buy a property, and that's what we try to do. Most of our buyers, they don't use it all year round. They use it for a month, 2 months. So it gives also a fantastic opportunity to rent it out and have a professional company that manage for you. So we have seen that most of the non-residents, and mainly since COVID, also they are looking more for that option. No, it's a very easy option. You can buy a house, use it, and then the rest of the time it helps you to pay the mortgage and the expenses of the house.
And this is the idea of branded properties as well, is it?
Yes, that is the idea of branded residence. Of course, that can be done by any type of residence if the community allow to rent in vacation rental. But the branded residence, it gives like an additional, like an additional benefit, no? Because you have a brand behind that give credibility, of course, when you're selling to a foreigner as well that doesn't know the local developers very well. Because I mean, to be with a international brand like an American, it's a public company at the end of the day, and they are not going to marry with anyone. that is not professional, and they know that give certain guarantees and securities.
And we were talking earlier, you mentioned some examples. There are already some examples of branded both hotels and properties, I think, on the Costa del Sol, aren't there?
Yeah, we have it. We have a Wyndham Costa del Sol, where we are doing it. And now we have this new project that is going to be Wyndham Grand. Wyndham Grand is like the 5-star of Wyndham. We now have 24 different brands, and that's the highest upscale brand. And yes, well, I think in reality you can see many different types of branded residences, as you have now in Marbella. That you have it's more like retailer type of branded residence. But in our opinion, for us, because we also have the hotel side, because it gives us the best opportunity to have a hotel branded residence. That is what we think that a foreigner investor is really looking for, because wants at the end of the day to rent it out. So we think that for the area, a hotel branded residence is the best fit. Really.
Best. David, I'd like to bring David and Juan here. So we've been talking about different types of properties, and as architects, you've mentioned that you've built properties in MIJAS. I mean, what other new developments, what types of properties are you, from your experience, are you seeing people wanting to buy? Juan or David?
Well, we're seeing a lot of foreign investors wanting to buy single dwellings, mostly villas, high-end villas, whether it's for an investment for a second residence, or an investment to rent it out for short-term or long-term. And also, we see a lot of investors coming to get the golden visa as well. Architects' average villa goes way beyond €500,000, which is good for the people that buy from us, or the investors, because literally they get the golden visa right away. So we were seeing a lot of that, but there is a national market too coming to MIJAS. There is a lot of it. Unfortunately, well, they're looking for a lower budget properties, and we see that there's a lack of supply for it in MIJAS, and not just MIJAS but Malaga as well. And prices are through the roof, so they're finding quite difficult to come, especially nationals, come and move into this beautiful territory. But we are looking to get, architect is looking to get a lower-end models for exactly to supply for these type of customers that they cannot find the supply in MIJAS.
Yeah, thank you. Juan, if you want to add.
Well, the investors that I have worked with in MIJAS are very different. For example, in 2014, my first experience in MIJAS was with retail. Synergym, the gyms, developed the second space in Spain, here in MIJAS. And I think it was because of the strategic situation, because it was in a place where you can find a lot of people in very little minutes, not kilometers, but very near the railway, the autopista. Sorry for my English.
The motorway.
Highway.
Highway.
Highway if you're American, motorway if you're British.
An expensive one. An expensive one.
An expensive motorway highway.
And apart from that, the particulars that are looking for their own house is the other kind of investor that I have met. Irish investor, British, from very different parts of Europe and of the whole world. And is this middle investor what I think they need the most of the authorities, because small rehabilitations can be done with responsible declaration. Big developments have their own capacity of speech with the administration, but the middle ones are the ones who need a really fluent way to work.
Absolutely true, and we are working very hard in order to reduce all the bureaucracy that we have to use in this moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a really hard task for us, and it's the most important because we think that it's important that the people who want to invest, the middle invest, the people who want to develop land with a plan parcial approved, for example, they are in a trouble always because from the town hall we are asking for different informes, and you don't have a clear criteria in order to fill in the forms.
Yeah.
And we are changing. In 4 weeks or something like that, we will bring you good news with SUR, of course.
Well, I hope so, because we built in 4 months. So if we can get the construction permits in 4 months, we can supply a lot of houses.
The construction permissions,
Yeah, I know.
the time to give the construction permissions in these situations is more than the 8 months, and people can't waste so much time
Yes,
for
I
that.
know.
From a financial perspective, when you're analysing a project and the investment, time is obviously very important. How long will it take for this project to be realised? And if there are delays, if you have to factor in, and sometimes a lot of foreign investors will look at numbers very coldly, and they will make a decision as to, oh, you know, will I be able to make a turn on my investment within the 2 year or within 18 months, or will it take 3 or 4 years? And that, if we can shorten the timescale, that would be really good for the area,
Yes,
for sure.
is our intention to solve it as soon as possible. But the public administration, as you know, they have their own rules and their own time, and we are trying to reduce as much as possible. But I'm sure that the people who buy a property in MIJAS, they get a great revaluation when they sell. And people wants to live and wants to invest in MIJAS. I think it's the best place in the Costa del Sol because we are in the middle and in strategic position because we are only 20 minutes away from an international airport.
Yes, you're right.
And we do very easy the life for the people who don't speak Spanish.
I just moved to Jardines del Águila. Jardines del Águila?
Yeah,
I just moved there. Just bought a property. That's MIJAS, right?
that's MIJAS.
Okay, thank you. Now, a question perhaps for Mark and Lourdes. Well, David, you mentioned the golden visa scheme, so it's an interesting area I'd like to develop a little bit more. But also to Mark and Lourdes, I suppose the traditional view, particularly from the British press, if you like, is that the people that tend to come to live in Spain are retired Brits, perhaps retired Germans. But I think there's been a lot certainly in Diario SUR and other newspapers recently about the growing amount of much younger families, perhaps since the pandemic more so, people, you know, there's the idea of digital nomads, people that can come and work remotely, and that's changing perhaps the profile of people that are looking to invest. Are you seeing this, Mark, in terms of people who are coming to you?
100%. I think COVID really had a massive change in people's perspective of how they want to live their lives. COVID showed us all that we can work remotely. All of us, you can run a company with 80,000 staff members, and you can function working from home. So that was huge. A lot of people now are demanding that they don't want to be in the office 5 days a week. You know, remote working is something which is here and it's real. I do a lot. We speak a lot now to a lot of people from America, from North America, from the States. A lot of IT people, and you know, we've mentioned golden visa, but digital nomad visa is huge because you don't need a minimum investment requirement of $500,000. The amount of people that are contemplating having a better life in southern Spain has gone up exponentially because of the ability to work from home. The internet connection is so good in Spain compared to even regional parts in the UK. You know, people are saying, well, why would I live in the country in the UK because the internet isn't so good? Whereas I can come to MIJAS and have access to an international airport, and the internet connection is fantastic. So I can trade, I can speak to my boss in California, San Diego, or whatever. All right, I have to probably work later during the day, but that's fine. And the cost of living here is a big factor as well.
Yeah.
Compared to the States. So yeah, no, it's a very dynamic, very fluid market right now, and it's very positive, I think.
Lourdes.
Here in MIJAS, from the town hall, we have worked very hard to provide the internet services in everywhere. As you say, Mark, if you are a digital nomad, you can work here and you can talk to your partners in San Diego, in Florida, in UK, wherever you want, because you always have a good connection that is so important. And you can work and you can live the rest of your life. And you have a marvelous weather the most of the time. I think the people are trying to live and to work in MIJAS because it's really easy to do it. In fact, in this moment, we have a promotion to convince the people that if they want to live in MIJAS, they can work in MIJAS with the new situation.
Thank you. Juanjo, from your point of view, is this something that you're experiencing as well, people coming to Wyndham?
Yes, we do, and I think this the digital nomad has helped the real estate from two sides, because you have of course, the buyers that just buy because they want to use it as a digital nomad and work remotely, but also from an investor point of view, they can get much more return, because we always had here the issue of the seasonality. Okay, so May to October, you don't have any problem to fill a property, but we have another division where we manage third-party properties along the coast, private owner properties, and we can give them much more return with these digital nomads, because we have many of these apartments, and at the moment we have it, that are occupied with the digital nomad families. They even come with their kids for 5-6 months, and it's really good for the season November to Easter. So that is helping as well. And in the hotel side, the Wyndham Coastal Sol, we also see that it's true that we have more people coming for 45 days, something like that.
I would like to add something, because I think that the Costa del Sol has the recipe for the people who come to retire, leisure and healthcare, okay? But digital nomads, I think they need another element, and it's what we can do in education. If you get to private, I see in my B2C clients that they choose where to live, if it's in Nerja, or if it's in Vélez Málaga, or if it's in MIJAS, the 40-year-old people, depending on the schools. So if you have private schools and good public schools, that is also a very important element that we have to take care in digital nomad matters.
So there's a whole sort of new range of things to think about with younger people and families moving to
I agree,
the
yes.
Costa del Sol,
Yes.
David.
Especially foreigners that come here, they would like to have international schools.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. Me personally, like I said, I just moved to MIJAS, but my son is in an international school in Marbella. I couldn't find an international school in MIJAS for the languages that my son speaks. So I think it's a very important point that Juan said. That will bring a lot of people that they will take MIJAS as an option to come in here. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is a good point.
And just leading on from that a little bit, I mean, digital nomad, we're talking a lot about digital nomads. I suppose this is directed at Mark, really, in terms of people coming and looking for mortgages. I mean, is that sort of criteria of people coming and actually wanting to invest and buy property? Or are they looking at the rental market? How is that affecting?
So digital nomads that we're talking to, they are obviously looking at relocating to Spain, and as Juan quite rightly said, they're much younger than our traditional. And for me, that's great, because 70-year-olds or 65-year-olds generally don't really want mortgages. They've worked all their lives. They paid off all their mortgages. So if you're 40 years old, you know, you're more of my type of client, which is good for me.
Yeah.
Bring over the digital nomad.
Let's go.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm really for the digital nomad visa. I think it's great. But then again, I would say that. So yeah, no, I mean, sorry, I've forgotten the question.
So wondering whether they were actually coming over, because the idea nomad, you kind of get the idea that these people are moving around a lot, but you're saying actually they are looking to invest.
They are.
And buy property.
The reason why I think they're looking to invest is there's so many different reasons. One is quality of life, cost of living, the great weather. But they also aren't, you know, they're looking at investing their money wisely, and they see southern Spain, Costa del Sol, particular MIJAS, because we're in MIJAS, they see it as a great long-term investment. Yes, they have no particular affinity to Spain, essentially, but they want all those things. They want to bring their children up in a safe environment. Now, La Costa del Sol is one of the safest places to bring up children, and that's something we should be very, very proud of, and we need to thank all the people that look after us. But they're not just doing it for those things. They're looking at a long-term investment plan as well. So when they may be here for 5-10 years and then move on when their children have finished schooling. But they see it as a good investment for those 5 or 10 years. And you never know, they may stay.
Anybody else? No? Okay. And from an architect point of view, I mean, people coming over and asking for sort of new builds. I mean, this is a question to Law this as well. People looking for new builds. Because I know, particularly, I think generally, Spanish investors like to have new properties, whereas a lot of, particularly in the UK, people like the older buildings, and that's what they're attracted to. So my question is whether foreign people coming over to invest in MIJAS are looking for older buildings perhaps, or if they're looking for the new builds and the new properties. One.
Both. Really.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them, because we have a huge. There are a lot of people with second residence here with a good level of maintenance, because when they buy the property, they do an invest, and when they are not in MIJAS, they rent these houses to get the money enough to pay the community fees and the local taxes and get some profits. And in the other hand, there are people who are looking for new constructions because they like the new designs, not the Mediterranean designs, but I love it, the Mediterranean designs. I don't like the new designs, I have to do.
And that's the beauty of it, right? MIJAS has both of them, right? You can offer
Depends on your personal situation.
Yeah.
But we receive both of them.
Juan.
The point is that here in MIJAS you can choose, because here you have land and you have also old developments that can be renewed and reused. In some other town halls you don't have the choice, because there is almost no land, and the only possibility is the rehabilitation. One of the most powerful points of MIJAS is that it is huge, and it has still plenty of land, even after this huge development that we had in the past 30 years. And my experience is that people normally nowadays like new developments, but they sometimes don't want to face the time lapse that it requires. And when you show them the opportunity of buying and refurbishment and get to their house in less than 1 year time, they sometimes choose rehabilitation instead of a new building.
Well, and that's where we come in, Juan, that because we provide new build, right? But once we prepare the documentation to put it into the basic project, to put it into the municipality, we start building the new builds within our facilities at the same time. So it's a parallel process. meaning that most of the times before the construction license is approved, the house is already built. That means that when the license comes approved, whether it's 6 months or 8 months, we provide the house, we implant the house to the customer's lot, and within a month, the customer has the keys of the house. So we're cutting almost in half the process of construction, new build construction for customers and investors or property buyers, which is, I think it's very attractive, but we're just waiting on the license.
Absolutely agree.
So I think it's a good option for these type of people that they want new developments, new build, but they don't want to wait the process of waiting for the license and then start building a new build, which could take a year and a half.
And also, I have to say, it's a good point for the golden visa, because the golden visa has to be already built.
Yes.
So those ones looking for golden visa
Yes,
will
absolutely.
prefer to buy something already built. And then the architects, nowadays, they do a fantastic inside refurbishment. It's totally open concept, and they look like the new developments, really.
Yeah. Okay. Picking up on the point of golden visas, Lourdes, perhaps, or I don't know who can tell us a little bit more, particularly in MIJAS, how much opportunity there is, how much interest there is, and sort of what they are, really, the idea of golden visas.
I don't have so much idea of this.
Well, we do have clients looking for golden visa. We work with immigration agents from South Africa and from China as well. So there are people looking, and they come through these agencies, but it's true that it's not an easy process. It's not as easy as we see it, because there is a lot of bureaucracy, and then you have all these rules about money laundering. And so it seems quite easy when you see it in the press and all that, but then it has a lot of bureaucracy behind. So, but there are, of course, people interested in order to be able to have free movements around Europe and all that.
And when we talk about golden visas, these have to be properties over a certain amount.
Half a million.
Half a million.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, talking about investment, what we haven't talked about so much is the ease at which people, perhaps more people from other countries, are able to get mortgage loans in Spain. Mark, how is that situation at the moment?
Okay, it's really good. Well, it's good. It's much better than in other countries. So, for example, a foreigner who wants to invest in the UK will find it very difficult to get a mortgage. You'd have to be some connection to Britain. You know, your mother must be British, or you must be British. You couldn't just be a Spaniard, for example, and get a mortgage in Spain. That's the same in Italy, and it's very complicated in France. So Spanish banks are very open to speak to foreigners. It's not straightforward. It is difficult. You've got to understand how the Spanish banks think, and you have to prepare the way you approach the banks. Because obviously the banks are cautious because they don't know who you are and you don't know much about your situation. But that's our job, really. Our job is that. So mortgages for foreigners who want to invest in Spain is much easier than it is in other parts of Europe, which is very commendable, I think. And it just shows you how open Spain is. And that's another thing that I think we need to be thinking of and proud of, is that Spain as a society, especially Andalusia, we're very, if you compare where we're at with, a lot of people say to me, I ask them, why do you choose Spain instead of Italy or France? And the general consensus is that it's just a bit more relaxed. The people are a bit more open. And that is reflected with how the banks are welcoming foreigners to this country to invest. And I think that's great. So yeah, everything's good.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I mean, people always saying it's very true that Spanish are very open, very friendly, very welcoming. And I was going to ask, does that sort of come across does that sort of feed through to banks and mortgage lenders as well? Okay, great. Okay. I don't know if Juan or Juanjo, you wanted to add anything about people coming over and getting sort of mortgages, that side of things.
No, but that is great to hear what Mark has just said, that it's easier in Spain because it helps the business. We also, it's true that in Spain we have the biggest also international banks. We have Santander, BBVA that are all over the world, so maybe that's have some influence on it. So, but it's good news.
Can I just add one thing about the golden visa? So yeah, everyone talks about the golden visa. You have to throw in €500,000. Okay, that's fine. But for people who are interested in the higher ticket properties, there's no reason why you can't top that $500,000 up in order to purchase a better property or a reform. So for example, you see there's lots of villas here that need reforming, and they could cost $750,000 or something like that, or even 1.2. Well, that's no problem because you can invest your $500,000, obtain the golden visa, but you can top it up with a mortgage. As long as you stick to the rules, $500,000 rules, you can buy pretty much whatever property you want, as long as you can afford it.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, no, it's really important. It's really important that people don't understand. We have to understand how we can work with architects, real estate agents, because we complement each other. And the mortgage side of it is huge, because if you're worried about investing in Spain, sorry if I'm going on, but if you're worried about investing in Spain, well, you can get a bank to come in. They will do their due diligence on the property as well, because they will do a tasación. So they will do their due diligence, which is great. That gives you extra peace of mind. But if you're worried about putting so much money in to do the reform, well, you can get a bank to help you do the reform as well, which is also great.
I would like to add, we are talking about this golden visa, this €500,000 to more value, and it's wonderful that we have these prices, but we also have to have cheap housing. Why? Because of what you said, Mark. We are open. We know when foreign people come, we know that they are giving us their lives, their investment, and we have always perceived the foreigner as someone that gives us things, and now with the problem of the price of the housing, there are some movements against, and we cannot permit this, and all the things that go to the way of having the possibility of having also cheap housing is very important, like prefabrication, like you do, David, your company do, and public efforts, and everything that can be done in that line is very important to continue to be open and to avoid this sense of that the increase of the price of the house is bad perceived.
Are you talking about investing in lower end starter properties like UVPOs or something like that?
VPO. There must be a huge effort in this in order to conceal this to the foreigners and the locals.
So VPO, can we just explain? VPO is public.
Cheap houses.
Yeah, and they're public owned.
Yes, they are public homes, and in fact, we realize this problem, and when we from the government, we are working very hard because we have land to develop cheap houses, but it's really difficult because the laws from Junta Andalusian and the central government says that the companies that wants to develop, they don't get money. If the companies don't develop public houses, it's very difficult. But in MIJAS, we are in a lack, as always, because we have a lot of lands in order to build this kind of houses, not just buying, perhaps rented.
Yeah, and I think Lourdes has gone into the key. The land is here.
The land is here.
The problem is that the other things doesn't go, and the politician that is able to solve this, and it's not going to be solved without the private sector. That is the important thing. It's not going to be done only by the public. So there must be regulation to face this problem and to conceal the luxury and
Yes.
and the normal.
And we have to collaborate, the public and the private institutions in this case, to find the best situation. And for us is one of our major objectives to build more than 500 houses for people just for renting, just for cheaper prices.
So these are new developments that are being built. So
Yeah.
there is regulation, or there needs to be regulation that a certain percentage of the houses are
Of
No.
the land.
accessible.
There
Of
is a
the land.
regulation
First
of
of
a
the land.
percentage of
Right.
the land, but then no one wants to develop because the numbers for the private sector simply doesn't work
Doesn't
because
work.
the construction prices are very high. That's why precasting solutions are so important and many other things.
Yeah.
You reserve this 10% of the land, but nobody has the obligation to build the cheap houses.
Right.
It's a problem, it's a legal problem that between all the administrations we have to solve as soon as possible, because all of you have said people who are foreigner, they have a good reputation here. And I would like in the future, when an international people want to invest here, the local people look bad at them.
Yeah.
And we have to avoid this, because we have to be a friendly place.
Thank you. Now, talking about regulation, but slightly different type of regulation, I'm interested in asking perhaps David and Juan Goñi about sustainability, eco-friendly designs. What kind of regulation, and also Juan Jose, everybody, is there regulation in place, and are you finding, in particular from foreign investors, that they are looking at?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. More and more
More
we're seeing investors coming in, and their first question they ask is if we do sustainable housing, sustainable materials, and then they ask like thousands of questions about type of materials and models and brands, and they look it up and they search. So they are very aware of it. They want to do a less impact. Sustainable materials for windows, solar panels, and water recycling and water reuse is a reusable system. So there's a lot of things involved there, and there's a lot of options. And I think they do ask a lot, and they are very aware of it. And more we see that it's part of the construction community building right now.
Yeah. The proof that the foreigners are very implied in this is that the standards are all foreigner. LEED standard, BREEAM standard, passive house standard.
Yeah.
They are always come from the Germany.
Scandinavians, yes.
Yeah, and also precasting solutions is one of the solutions for that, because now the regulation in Spain obliges to almost zero consumption developments.
Yes.
So we have to go for it.
Well, yes, in our case, for example, from a hotel point of view and the rental of the apartments, for us it's very important to be efficient in energy, because at the end it's a high return for the property owners. So we try to have measures that, like, the guests normally leave and they keep the air conditioning on and things like that. So we have different ways to control that there's no one in the room or in the living room of the apartment, the air conditioning is switch off. So we try to, maximize, in order to maximize the return, to be cost efficient as well.
Thank you. And David, you mentioned water recycling. Of course, I think we cannot avoid the issue of the drought that is affecting us more and more. And I wanted to ask the panel if that is something that people who are looking to invest in MIJAS and along the Costa del Sol, is it something that people are aware about? Are they reading about it in the international press? Have they heard from people that live here about, nightly water restrictions? And is that beginning to have an impact as well?
We personally hear it a lot. It is a question that comes up very often. Foreigners are very aware of the news about the droughts problem that we're facing right now here. And we get that question quite a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of systems that you can offer for people to feel more comfortable that they can reuse their own water, or they can recollect rainwater into their systems and in their housing, and they can use that water for other purposes like irrigation or watering plants, or even for showers or for other necessities, not just for drinking. So yes, I think they are very aware. I think even in Canada, they ask me questions like, "Hey, you guys are going through draft times there," and I say, "Yes, we are, unfortunately." So there is options. So that's a good thing, and I'm pretty sure Lourdes is going to come up with maybe some laws or systems that they're going to be implemented as a law in housing. You know?
Yes, we are working very hard with the administrations. As you know, we are late. The administration were late with the solutions, because if you look at another destinations like Canary Island, like Israel and other countries, they don't have any rain along the year, and they don't have problems with the drought. I think this is a red moment. We have an alert, and we are working hard from the Mancomunidad de Municipios, Junta de Andalucía, and central government to provide the definitely solutions for the drought. Because the weather is changing, and we are not going to receive rain for a long time. And as you know, the plans, the desalination plans, and all these things, you need 3 or 4 years. And now we don't have other option like cut reductions of water. There's no more option in this moment, and we have to be responsible. But I would like to inform that we have received for water enough till October. We'll pass the season, and we are working very hard to get the desalination plants.
And in terms of this summer,
At the end,
preparations,
to preparation,
make sure that there's supply.
No, well, I think this is like a kind of a warning, and we have to be prepared for the future. That's what we have to do.
Yep.
And I understand what Lourdes is saying. For politicians, it's not easy as well, because there is so many administration involved. So it's not going to be quick. But it's true that you have other places in Spain, like Almeria or Canarias, that they don't have rain, and it's not such an issue for them. So we need to get ready for the future. So.
Get prepared for the future, yeah. Okay, well, thank you. I think it's been a really interesting conversation that we've had. We've covered lots of different areas, from mortgages, a changing profile of people coming to invest in MIJAS and on the Costa del Sol. We've talked about what a safe place the Costa del Sol continues to be for people coming to live here. The importance of schools, international schools and public schools. And of course, we've touched on the environment and the importance of people looking for more sustainable options, and of course, the drought situation. So I'd like to round off this morning by just asking our panel members just to draw some conclusions about what's been talked about today, some important points that they've made and they've heard. And then we'll end the morning, okay? So I don't know, Juan, would you like to start with just some points that you've sort of covered, or anything else you'd like?
About the matter we are talking, I think that we all know why people want to come here, and it's good to see that public and private are in the same line of in the things that we can make things better, like timelines, deadlines, and precasting solution, that we are working together to get the solutions to make things better.
Thank you. Juan.
Well, that's a part of what Juan has said. Is I think we are really well positioned here in MIJAS and in the Costa del Sol in general. There is a lot of demand. there is a lack of product, of new developments, because we have more demand than offer. Also, of course, in the VPO, as we were discussing earlier, but I think it's a difficult situation because we need to find the right combination where the developers can get some profit of it, because it's a big development, so it's a big risk, and it's difficult to achieve. So it has to be a way that, and the point that it was discussed is also about the materials and also about the workforce, because there is a lack of resources, that's human resources in the construction, what is making the construction very expensive as well. But we need to find the way of doing it and keep everyone happy.
Thank you. Lourdes.
First of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to participate in this roundtable. And I think this meeting are very important because we can exchange several ideas. And from the public administration, it's really important to hear all the people that are involved in the territory, because there are different points of views. And as all of you have said, from the town hall, we have to work very hard to reduce the time to give the license, because the people will come here with more security.
Thank you. Mark.
Thank you very much, Jenny. So, yeah, just to conclude, from a banking perspective, mortgage perspective, everything is okay. Everything's fine. We've seen a big increase last year, and we're now seeing that interest rates are calming down. So that's good news for any potential person who wants to buy a property and is thinking of getting a mortgage. In general, I mean, I think we all mentioned it. MIJAS de Costa del Sol is very attractive. Demand I cannot see reducing in any way. So if we're involved in property, we're in a good place. The only obviously there are some risks, and the risks are obviously is this growth sustainable? You know, do we have enough housing for younger people to come in, lower paid workers? Do we have enough? Probably not. You know, are we building enough VPOs? I think if we look at towards Europe, Spain in general isn't building enough low-cost, affordable housing, and obviously the climate change issue. Those are the risks I see long-term to our prosperity. That's it.
Thank you. David.
Well, I would like to say that we're here to work with the municipality, along with them. We're here to provide options for all the matters that we just discussed. Overall, MIJAS is a beautiful place where to live. Safe, like we said. We do have challenges to face. There are quite a few, but Architect is willing to work along all the municipalities with architects and bring options to the table that we can capture all these investors to come in and new property buyers and families to have the supply that right now we're lacking. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to extend my thanks again to all the panel members this morning, to Juan Goñi Uriarte, to Juanjo Millán, to Lourdes Burgos, to Mark Damien Elliott de Lama, and to David Sanchez. Thank you very much. And I think now there's going to be a little bit of time for if there's anybody who wants to speak to any of the panel members on a one-to-one basis, I think there's going to be some time now for you to be able to do that. So thank you as well for coming this morning. I hope you have enjoyed the debate and found it useful. And again, thank you very much. And thank you to the Mayor as well for her presentation earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Jenny.